Hey guys and gals. This is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Vulcan Wolverine 2. It's 5:35 p.m. Central Time on July 25th, 2019. I just wanted to do a short live stream, so anybody coming in, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Let me, while people come in the chat, I wanted to play a song. This is for you, Stacy, because you requested it on my last live stream that I wasn't like out driving around the city. And it's a great song, "Soul to Squeeze" by Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's a really good song for targeted individuals. It's how I feel. A lot of the lines in it are how I feel right now. Probably a lot of us feel that way. But let me play that, and then I'll get to the news you can use. And I'm wearing my Stop Gang Stalking Crime shirt. I hope all you guys are finding peace and strength. We'll say a huge prayer at the end of this live stream. Please remind me, anybody in chat, so we say a prayer for strength and miracles. Lots of good things happening. Lots of good things blooming and blossoming and that are going to help us. Lots of terrible things happening with these weapons. A little bit conflicted to go over one of these stories because I don't, the way that like somebody on a conference call told me about this story and sent me the link, and it's like I was very conflicted about reporting it. I was very conflicted about reporting it because, because it's like, well, I'll get to that. Let me play this song. Welcome to chat, anybody coming in. I'm going to open up my chat room on my tablet. I hope y'all are doing well. I've had a hellish, it's just all the time hell, but we just got to find the strength to get through it. And there's good things coming up. So let me play this song, kind of get my stuff ready. I wish I had an audio player or something like that. I'm trying to work on that stuff, kind of making my channel better, but on the other hand, I'm just trying to survive, So I'm doing the best I can. I know all you guys are too. Hey, everybody coming in the chat. Yeah, I really need a better audio player, some editing equipment, or a program. Hey, Moment of Truth. Hey, Native. How are you doing? It's good to see you too, friend. Tanya. Yeah. You can get these on stopgangstalkingcrimes.com. I think there's still a link on there. Yeah, Moment of Truth says, give us strength, Lord Jesus, please. Please, in the name of Jesus Christ, please give us strength. Please give us peace of mind and peace of spirit. Just help us to do things that end this stuff quick or get it out to the public so that these horrifying things done with these weapon programs can stop. Maybe this technology won't disappear, but that the public will be aware about it so they can't just do nasty satanic things. And I'll show you all this news story where targeted individuals are in the news. We are in the mainstream news. It's just the results of these weapons being used are in the mainstream news stories, but then they're like, oh, we don't know why this happened, or it's mental illness, or, with the Cuban embassy attack, mystery, it's a mystery. So targeted individuals are all over the mainstream news, but the news is not filling in the truth of what's happening with these remote neuro weapons, which is just, it's so frustrating. It's beyond frustrating, People in this world, everybody, non-TIs, TIs, They need to, you know, we don't have a choice. We pick the right side because we're being targeted by evil and we're fighting for good. Everybody else in the world, you better pick a side. You better decide, do I want to do good? And there's consequences that come with that. It's a hard life. It's not as easy as picking to do evil. You get a lot of stuff when you do, but people better pick, because we're not looking at something where it's like, oh, a couple of people are going to die and, oh, that's okay, it's not me. We're talking about every family in the world suffering from satanic darkness. And it's just building up, and people better pick good or evil. Everybody better pick. Like I don't think that we pick, because we're dealing with this stuff. I kind of didn't want to do a video today because like I was pacing around my house seeing this news story, and I'll tell y'all, I'll kind of talk about it, like how insane it is, and that everybody who is with this program, whether they got microwave, they're using microwave weapons on people, or they're participating in gang stalking, whatever, they are participating in the greatest evil ever done on this earth. And they better think again. They better think better of this and come over to the right side. Come over to the good side. Because this stuff is just, it's evil. It's evil. I mean, we all know that. Just a moment. I gotta take it slow. So Nathan Roper says, I prayed for you all last night, Kyle, and other TIs too. Will you please pray for me? I'd really appreciate it. Yes, Native, I will pray for you. We'll all pray for you today. We'll all pray for each other. We're going to close out the live stream with a prayer, and then people can put prayer requests in the chat, and we'll just, that's how we'll kind of end it, in the chat. I'm not doing good. I'm very agitated. Very agitated. I can't, and like, I really, okay. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off. It's a great song. I guess Stacy can see it if she watches the live stream on the replay. What did I want to say? Oh yeah, I really like doing, like, I really kind of like talking to random people about this. I know I did a bad job, but it was kind of like a, you know, since I've been targeted, I've kind of become an adrenaline junkie, because adrenaline keeps me going. And it seemed like talking to random people about this kind of gave me some adrenaline. It was kind of like a challenge and something new. And I do want to do something with that. I was thinking, like, you know, Steven Crowder has those tables set up, and then he puts a sign on the table like gun control, something about gun control, prove me wrong, and then they have discussions about it. You can tell I'm not thinking very great right now. But I was hoping to maybe do that, you know, get some targeted individuals in my area and have a table that says, do you know about targeted individuals? Or do you know about non-consensual, or do you know about gang stalking? Or do you know about non-consensual experimentation with directed energy weapons? And then kind of do something like that. But with the live stream stuff with my phone, it's eating up my my minutes. It's eating up a lot more minutes. And it seems like for me, if I use the internet when I'm out and about, it really runs down those minutes very, very fast. And I'm not sure if my attackers can kind of do something with that. But so I've got to figure out, you know, something with that. All right, guys. Moment of Truth says, was just saying I've been in here as Joe H before. Okay, Moment of Truth. All right, guys, let me just get to it. So this is just an Thursday afternoon live stream. And I want to show you all this story. I was very conflicted about showing it because it's one of the worst. It's like one of the worst situations that happens with these weapons. And it, you know, doesn't have a lot to do with all targeted individuals. Like in like 0.00001%, which means really two more zeros, targeted individuals hit with directed energy weapons or remote neural weapons end up doing something violent or something, or end up committing suicide. I think a lot more end up committing suicide than end up doing something violent, but it does happen. It happens a lot, but like what my conflict is that showing this news story, I don't want people to think that's the majority of targeted individuals, because it's not. Because the majority of targeted individuals are doing activism, they're staying peaceful, we're trying to figure out ways to stop this. We're not listening to the V2K or anything like that and doing what our attackers want us to do. But this is it's a scary story. So let me just get into it. We have to know about these things. Yeah, Tanya Bauer says mind control. Yes. Nave Neuropter says, I believe God is helping us TIs through the power of prayer. Amen. Amen. Definitely. Definitely. God, our creator, in Jesus' name, is on our side. He's on the side of life. He's on the side of protecting and creating life and creating good things. Now, destruction does happen in the universe, but human beings should not be working towards destruction as some sort of creation. There's enough natural destruction. And so I think these evil people, they think they have to balance out their evil acts with their good acts, or some kind of lie that Satan told them. And Satan would be the top of the pyramid. Any leaders in Masonry filled up with evil spirits. We'll just say evil spirits. Evil. Filled up with evil and lies. But let me get to this, guys. I just want to show these two stories. I'm going to try and get myself a little bit more straightened out and organized. I was kind of thinking about, like, if I feel like just hanging out and showing some videos or something, maybe going to my other channel, to Vulcan Wolverine 2. Like, if I just want to show videos and hang out and then make this channel more organized. I'm not sure. I'm going to do so. I'm going to figure out something, though. I'll tell you that much. So let's go to this news story, and I'm gonna read it first. And then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna actually play the little. Oop, that's the wrong one. So that's the second story. So very conflicted about telling the story. It's very horrible. This is a targeted individual in the news. He's not like us. He's not like the majority of targeted individuals. He did some very bad things. He's a serial killer. And he's saying that he's actually, like, y'all see what he's saying. He's not just saying that he heard voices. He's saying that it's directed energy weapons being shot at him, and the mainstream news actually reported that he said that. But, you know, there's a complication with this. Let me read it first, and then I'll kind of give y'all my hot take on it. So, accused New York City killer caught in NoHo, I think that's California, says he hears voices in his head in an interview with New York City paper. A man accused of being a serial killer said he is a good person who heard voices in his head during an interview he did with the New York Daily News from the Men's Central Jail in downtown Los Angeles. This is by Jory Rand. Los Angeles, KABC. A man accused of being a serial killer said he is a good person who heard voices in his head during an interview he did with the New York Daily News from the Men's Central Jail in downtown Los Angeles. Daniel Drayton admitted in the interview that he killed New York nurse Samantha Stewart. I really liked her, he said. I didn't want to kill her. They told me she had to die. He's referring to the voices in his head and went into further detail about hearing them. I'm a passenger in my own body, he said over and over, according to the interview. It's mind control. They use direct energy weapons on me to control my mind. Drayton said he suffered from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and admitted to several more murders, but police aren't sure whether they actually happened or not. Well, I have been, you know, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but they then pulled back because I kept talking to the psychiatrist. They pulled that back to delusional disorder. But I think that targeted individuals are diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. So we don't know if that's a real diagnosis. We don't. It's not a legit diagnosis if he's being messed with neuroweapons, right? Authorities were able to track down Drayton from New York to Los Angeles, where Drayton said he hoped his crime spree would come to an end. I wanted to get caught. I took some of her things with me and used them. I kept my same phone. I knew they could track it. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt, he said. but someone had gotten hurt in North Hollywood. He kidnapped, raped, and strangled another woman, telling the Daily News he thought he had actually killed her until she moved. He said he'd considered killing himself, but by then authorities moved in and placed him under arrest. After refusing to leave his jail cell twice last week, Drayton was arraigned on Monday and pleaded not guilty. Now, a couple of things, actually a bunch of things went through my mind with this news story. I'm going to show the video of the news story. I don't know if I'll get a copyright thing. Let me see. Yeah. This is really tough, but because I don't want to show these stories. You know, so much positive stuff is coming out. The majority of targeted individuals are just good people, and you know, and never going to do violence. But we've got to ask the question, because you know what happened with Myron May, what happened with the Navy Yard shooter, what happened with this guy. So let me say, like with my attacks, like the first couple of years with V2K, I'm not going to go into detail of what my attackers said, especially because I'm showing this story. But they said stuff like, do this or do that. And I laughed at them. And they threatened me. They said, do this or we're going to do this, right? And I don't want to get into the details, because I don't want people who don't think this is going on to, you know, think I'm dangerous or something like that. But I laughed at my attackers because I knew they were hitting me. They were playing mind games with me. I was going to do crap that they said, right? But we got to ask two questions. Like, if this guy was a targeted individual and they said, hey, you need to go kill her, and if you don't, we're going to do this to you, right? And he maybe didn't know the scope of what was happening and really felt threatened, like he had to do it, like his life depended on it. We've got that possibility. Or we've got the possibility that the mind control for him and the impulse control for him, like his attackers putting impulses into his head, or maybe stronger. We're maybe stronger than some of other targeted individuals, you know, mind control, you know, behavioral control. In looking at this, you know, we've got to say the awful things that are happening with these weapons. This is a targeted individual in the news. He's done horrible things. Most of us don't do horrible things, but it does happen. And it's just people need to know how dangerous these weapons are. People also have to understand that these contractors, and it depends on the contractor, right? Well, I'd say all the contractors doing this do not care about helping our communities. They do not care about disabling evil people doing evil stuff. They're trying to get good people to do evil stuff. And this case proves that. So it proves that these contractors, you know, take this for example, you know, if they with V2K told this guy to murder a woman, and he was going to go do it, right? Now, if they were good guys, these contractors, and they were trying to help communities, wouldn't they have stopped that? Just like Myron May and just like the Navy Yard shooter, they can't. It's an oopsie. This is another oopsie, right? You know, this is much worse. I don't think this is an oopsie. I think this is very purposeful, and they want to see if they can get people to go out and serial kill and go out and hurt people. And it's A+ success. We got this guy to go out and become a serial killer. That's part of the things that they're working on. That's part of the angles. You know, so anybody who's working with this program, and maybe you're not directly murdering people, and you think that this is actually good and this is going to create the technology is going to get better and keep people safe, or whatever delusion you are under, wake up now, because this is very evil. They're using this technology for evil, and they want things more evil and more chaotic. And I'm sorry, like I'm talking loud. I'm trying to push through with some adrenaline because my body's so torn up. But you know, I have to talk about this story. You know, I don't want to. So many good things are coming up for just the regular targeted individual community, but then we have these one-offs, right? We have these one-off situations where there's contractors beaming voices into people's head, doing remote neural manipulation, where In his case, he might have just been in a state where he was more susceptible. He might have been doing drugs, which made him more susceptible. We don't know. We don't know the details, but we know he actually did what the V2K said, and whatever urges were put into him, we know the contractors didn't try and stop it. You know, after these things happen and now he's in jail, they're probably still targeting him. He's probably sitting in jail and they are still putting voices in his head and still targeting him, still doing remote neural manipulation, and they're not going to stop. And two, I don't know how many women he killed, but they didn't care about saving their lives. And I guess that's an obvious thing, right? Because they're torturing and raping so many women with the weapons. Why would they care, right? Why? They don't care about anybody's life. People need to understand this. This is evil. We all have to fight it. This isn't some little thing in a group called targeted individuals. This is the population of the world that has this very severe problem. We've got to look at these situations, these bizarre, evil situations, and we got to say, are remote neuro weapons involved? Is V2K involved? Are these weapons involved? Because these contractors using them, they are being protected, and they're not playing by, they're playing by some kind of rules, but it's no kind of rules that anybody who's like living by the law, which means nothing now in our country, it means nothing in any countries now. It's satanic rules, and they may play by rules, but it doesn't mean they can't just kill everybody, right? Hey, Future Knowledge. Hey, Stacy. Hey, I played Soul to Squeeze today. I was kind of talking through it though. Hey, Jennifer Burns. Jennifer Burns says, I know they can control your mind, so they either made him do it or let him do it. Yeah, that's what was going through my mind too. It's like maybe, you know, maybe he, I don't, maybe he already had those tendencies. They were saying it with a V2K, and then they just let him do it. I kind of, just my initial research on this, I think it was a Myron May situation where they were doing mind control, they were doing behavioral control, and it had more effect. It was either more powerful, like the kind of the mind control protocols they were working, or it maybe had a more of an effect on them. Because, you know, we've got to realize this. Some people, you know how like you'll have a hypnotist do a show in front of an audience, and some people are not, the hypnotism doesn't work on them at all. Like their brain is just kind of, and it's not like they're stupider, it's not like they're smarter, it's just that they're different, and they respond differently to hypnosis and suggestion and things like that. We may be seeing that with like Myron May, the Navy Yard shooter, and this guy here. We may be just seeing people who are not dumber or whatever, and I don't, you know, it's too confusing for me to be like, oh, this poor guy, I feel sorry. You know, no, you know, he killed women, it's bad. But we've also got to ask the question, how much was he influenced, and how susceptible to those remote neural weapons was he, right? Because with me, my attackers really have to tear me down. I laugh at them when they tell me to do stuff because I know what's going on, right? But a lot of people, they may be more susceptible to some of the entrainment, to some of the things, and that's very, very, very dangerous and evil, you know? So Moment of Truth says, probably we're told they were all terrorists. It's their go-to, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just watch. Yeah, Stacy, just watch from the beginning. But I mean, I just played this song, so you can just, you know, listen to the song. Let's play this, guys. Let's play the news, like the oh god, the news video on it, and just because they say some of the same things in the article. But let's watch. Of course, is the case of Daniel Drayton, who was arrested in North Hollywood for allegedly kidnapping, raping, and torturing a woman here, after he's accused of murdering a woman in New York. And after this interview, it is clear his mental health will likely be a big part of his defense. Calling himself a good person who heard voices in his head. See, okay, now, guys, this is the thing, right? With this case, I really think that he had V2K, and he really was being hit with remote neural manipulation and things like that. I think that if he was, but we might have this start happening. I don't think it's happening in this case, but I do have a feeling that there might be some people who get caught doing bad things, like really bad things, and they say, oh, and they hear about directed energy weapons. They hear about, remote neural manipulation. They hear about these, behavioral control with directed energy weapons, and they maybe try and use that for a defense for insanity, right? A plea for insanity. I just think in this case, if he was going to try and trick the court into just believing he was insane, then he would probably just say, "Oh, I heard voices. I have schizophrenia." I don't see why he would have put directed energy weapons in there, right? It's too detailed. It's too detailed. It would be, this guy would be a super intellectual, like super really smart murderer, which I don't know if that exists, right? Like, because I don't think any murderers are smart at all. But you know what I'm saying? That would be like that. That would be like, Ted Bundy type of like mastermind crap. And I hate Ted Bundy. I hate saying good things to describe bad people, but it's like those good things in a bad way, right? But so I think that if he was just making it up to try and get the insanity plea, he would have left out directed energy weapons. He would have just said, "Well, I'm hearing voices, and I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I'm crazy, and blah blah blah." So that's what makes me think in this case that it really he was being influenced by directed energy weapons and B2K. But that's one thing in the future we might be seeing. In the future, we might be seeing, like in the immediate future, like we may be seeing people do bad stuff and say, "Oh, I'm being controlled by remote neural manipulation and stuff," and they might start trying to use it. I don't think that's in this case, but it did cross my mind that maybe that had happened in this case. But then looking at it, seeing what he said and everything like that, I really do think that he is being hit by these weapons. And who knows what the B2K said to him, and not even that, but who knows how powerful the entrainment is. It can turn people's rage meters up, the rage and their anxiety and their agitation. And if they had something locked deep down inside that was really bad, but it was never going to come out in their life, it can kind of bolster that up. It's hard to know exactly how powerful the mind control on him was. But this stuff happens. It's just so brutally evil. I was pacing around my condo trying to say, because we're so much good stuff is happening, and the majority of targeted individuals are very good people, and we're peaceful, and we're looking for solutions that are peaceful. We get angry and stuff because people are morons, and they're not only just ignoring this issue of refugees who are being tortured, war crimes in our communities. They're kicking us in the face while we're trying to get help for something that just happened to us. So it makes us angry. It makes us, we want to fight, but we got to fight in the right way. So most of us are like that. We do have these one-off situations, and the general public needs to know that if these contractors are just picking people kind of at random to experiment on and to see what they'll do, some people will do bad stuff, right? Obviously, right? You got a whole bunch of people that I'm like, wow, it's amazing how we're doing the right thing and we're staying strong. But you got to know that if you're just hitting a bunch of people with neuro weapons, shooting voices into their head, some people are going to do some very bad stuff. And the general public needs to know about that and understand that it's not just that person who's going to get hurt, right? Like in Myron May's case, he was very tortured and his life was destroyed, but then he hurt other people. This guy hurt other people. So they have to realize that the most targeted individuals aren't like that, but still the probability does exist where somebody's being targeted who is just getting torn down and cannot control can't control their mind, or they're being hit with something way more powerful in mind control that other people are at risk to. Everybody is at risk with these remote neuro weapons. This is not a situation where it's, hey, we're a targeted individual community and you guys help us. You non-targets help us. No, this is a worldwide problem for the whole of the population, and we must treat it as so. We must treat it as so. And I get kind of conditioned into talking about this in a certain way and like, oh, it's non-targets, please help us out. I know this isn't really hurting you at all, but that's not true. This is just hurting everybody. It's hurting every community in the world. So let me finish out playing this real quick. I'll get to a story that's not as bad as this, but still depressing.
The accused killer and confessed serial killer Daniel Drake, seen here being taken into custody last week in North Hollywood, spoke from the Men's Central Jail in downtown Los Angeles with the New York Daily News.
Brian too says that's true. Brian too says, I agree he may not have committed the crimes if he was actually a mind control victim. However, you will find no sympathy for a serial killer. Yeah, it's hard for me to sympathize with them. And let me say that's very important because, you know, it's tough. It's a conflicted thing to talk about because I don't want to sit here and be like, well, you know, my attackers they've said stuff like that to me, and I'm not going to repeat the details, but I've laughed at it. They put anger impulses and everything like that. And I didn't do anything with that. I tried to punch a punching bag or something like that. But there is also another kind of another angle on it. You know, his entrainment and his mind control could have been closer to Manchurian candidate type stuff than mine is, because there are different protocols, right? So I can't say with 100% certainty my attackers have done the exact same stuff to me, and I've passed that with flying colors, right? So that's why it's kind of, you know, I feel conflicted about how I talk about him, because my instinct is to be like, you know, what a piece of S. You know, I've gotten through those things where they've made me feel like, you know, getting angry and yelling at people and all this stuff, but I'm just not sure how far the Manchurian kind of candidate protocol works on some people. We have different brains in our bodies. We have different, these weapons and these protocols are going to affect different people in different ways. And certain contractors may be doing very specific things that maybe they're not doing in my protocol, right? That's true, Brian. Yeah, future knowledge says they can project images into your mind. Future knowledge says they're trying to make us all look bad. You know, future knowledge is like, that's why I didn't really want to show this story, because I'm like, oh God, does that make us look bad? But it's not us. You know, it's not the targeted individuals that are staying peaceful and finding a way through this. It's one-off situations. But one-off situations with neuroweapons, the things that they're doing to people, they're gonna happen. Dangerous situations are gonna happen. And we can, like, you know, in our cases, I can say I'll never do anything violent. Unless it's like wartime, unless it's like a whole militia, I join the militia and there's a war, I'm not just gonna go out and individually do something violent, right? I may punch somebody in the face, you know, if they kind of, you know, start really bothering me with the gang stalking.
Admitted to killing New York nurse Samantha Stewart. I really liked her, Drayton told the Daily News. I didn't want to kill her. They told me she had to die. They would be voices in his head that Drayton went into further detail about. I'm a passenger in my own body, he repeated over and over.
Okay, now that is where I say, how powerful was the remote neural manipulation? And if he's not defending himself, if he doesn't really understand like what the protocols are or whatever, or maybe it's a protocol where it's like they are literally taking over his limb movement, they are taking over some of his lines of reasoning and his lines of thought. You know, with me, it seems like a constant battle, and I resist and I do stay myself. You know, my energy has kind of gotten, I don't know, burnout, right? And sometimes they do stuff and I'm just like, oh, that's not even me. I know I can kind of keep track. I can keep track of who I am. I hope that lasts. But in this case, it could have been a lot different. It could have been a lot stronger, because he says I'm a passenger in my own body. We just don't know, because there are different types of people, different types of brains, different types of nervous systems, different types of genetics and everything like that. And we just don't know how these weapons and what can affect somebody and just take them over, where another person, they might try and do that and it doesn't necessarily work the same way, right? So that's where it gets really, really dangerous. And it gets really, this is proof positive. This is proof positive that these programs are not to help anybody. These programs are to create evil and create chaos, and they want to create shootings, and they want to create, you know, this evil thing and murders and everything to get everybody scared so they can have more control over people. These programs are not good. They're not to keep people safe. None of this is to keep people safe. And gang stalkers, if there are some gang stalkers that come and watch my videos and you participate in this stuff, you're participating in such satanic murder, not just harassment. You're participating in a lot of innocent people being hurt all over the world. And so people that are maybe cooperating with this program or whatever, and they don't think they're a murderer, they need to think twice. Anybody participating in this stuff you're helping evil. You know, you're helping a lot of evil. So I just want to say that. Future Knowledge says, I think they're using him to try to make us all look bad. Like this guy, you think this is like they're trying to set this guy up and say that he I think this is actually a situation. But that's an interesting take on it. That's an interesting angle. Yeah, S. Roble says I get images too. Yeah, I get images put in my head too. Really sick stuff. Really sick stuff. Jeanette Dizette says I get flashes of lights when I close my eyes sometimes. Yeah. So what do you mean, Future? You think that like he is? You think this guy wasn't a targeted individual at all, but he committed these murders, and then they told him to say that he was being hit with directed energy weapons? Or you think that, you know, they were doing this protocol to him, they were using remote neural weapons and making him do this so that all TIs would look like they would try and make all TIs look like they're dangerous? Because that's the thing. I mean, that's, you know, how these evil people work is this happens. They create the situation, right? They mind control this guy. They torture him. They use V2K on him. He goes and they make him do a bunch of bad stuff, right? They say do this, and they give him the impulse to do it. They make it all happen, and then it's like after that, he says, "Oh, you know, I was hit with directed energy weapons, right? I'm a targeted individual." And then people are like, "Oh, those targeted individuals are murderers already." Right, so they create this. It's like that false flag cycle. Like this guy may have never committed murder in his life unless these weapons were being used on him and the V2K was used on him. But because it was, you know, he does this crazy evil stuff, and then they say, well, he was like that anyway, right? So the ultimate false flag. The ultimate false flag was somebody's thoughts and actions. Let me finish playing this. I kind of want to move on to the other story. This is just it just sucks so bad, and I'm in a very agitated state, so I gotta do something.
Over. It's mind control. They use direct energy weapons on me to control my mind. Drayton said he suffered from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and has admitted to several more murders, but police aren't sure whether they actually happened. Authorities were able to track Drayton from New York to LA, where Drayton said he hoped his crime spree would come to an end. I wanted to get caught, he said. I took some of her things with me.
Yeah, okay. Stacy said something important. I was just about to say that they can control limbs and they can give strong impulses. Yeah. So it's like I see your situation, Stacy, and I know you'd never do anything like horrible to people, but they can maybe move your limbs and make you angry. Like in this guy, how far does that go? Like, or because maybe he has a brain that's more susceptible to hypnosis or some kind of suggestion, the entrainment could be more powerful. They could move his limbs and give him feelings at the same time. And for some reason, it just clicks with him better. And it you know, like, because I see a lot like us, I see a lot of basically all the target individuals that watch my videos, at least, you resist this. You resist everything they're doing. You fight it, you know, you kind of keep who you are. And you fight with who you are against what they're trying to do. But some people, you know, it's either they're getting a more powerful protocol, a more Manchurian candidate type of protocol, or they may just be more susceptible to these things, or they might be in fear. And the V2K says, if you don't do this, we're going to do this, and they really do take that threat seriously. You know, it could be a lot of different things. But they're definitely one-off situations, but they're very bad, and they do happen. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like, David Boyt's, I haven't seen him in a while, but he came into the community and he was talking about Myron May, and he was talking about the Navy Yard shooter. And a lot of targeted individuals didn't really like that. They were like, don't talk about those guys because people are going to start connecting us to them. And I get that. I get that perception of it. I understand that, but we've really just got to tell the truth about what's happening. But the truth is, something like this happening is a very, very one-off situation, right? I'm very proud of human beings seeing so many people. Okay, this is going to sound really weird. Everything I say sounds really weird with this situation. I'm proud to see how many people are getting hit with this stuff and staying very strong and staying very good, and they keep fighting, and it makes me a lot more hopeful in humanity's strength, right? But there's going to be, one-off situations, and I hate all this. I hate the targeting and everything. But I'm saying I see so many people, and it's almost like when they're resisting this, they become more spiritually who they were supposed to be. They use it in the opposite directions that their attackers want to take it. But then there are one-off situations where that just doesn't happen. Like Myron May and the Navy Yard shooter, this guy. And there could be a lot of different factors why things turned out different for these guys. Maybe they'll do more interviews with him and he'll get, more in detail with it. Maybe some of the psychiatrists, what I think is going to happen is they're just going to be like, this is just complete mental illness, right? They're going to send in psychiatrists that will say the right things, that may know that these programs are going on and still lie, right? To keep this lie covered up. No matter how much evil they create with it, they got to cover it up because it's national security or whatever. At this point in time, that's insane. This has to come out. This technology may still be around, but this has to come out. No more national security when it's about murdering innocent citizens who have done nothing. No more of that. Edward Snowden and Julian Assange are heroes. This stuff has to come out. The corruption and the evil have just gotten so out of control that, like, me sitting here and saying the corruption and evil has gotten so out of control doesn't cut it. It doesn't justify how evil this stuff is. And people need to not target individuals. We're all working our asses off to try and scream to the skies how evil this stuff is. But normal people need to understand. You need to stop living in a daydream. This is a war. We are in a war, and people are being turned into refugees and POWs and torture victims and even killed in their own communities now. And they are war crimes. War crimes being done in the name of DHS fusion centers, in the name of the DOD and these contractors under them, universities and hospitals. They're committing murder and experimentation on levels we have never seen. And people need to wake up. We're doing something about it, right? We're doing something about this, but more non-TIs need to join in because it's not just about the TI community in quotation marks. It's about everyone in the world. This problem of neuroweapons and, oh, is it in this situation? I think my attackers actually put that Chris Watts case in my YouTube thing, and I kind of watched one thing on it, which was a mistake because it's so dark, and I don't even want, but I look at that situation and I'm like, that was really weird. Was that family targeted in some way? And if the people were targeting him and his wife, and then that happened, he has a burst of rage and murders his whole family, then the contractors would probably just keep checking his mind out, keep remote neural monitoring him, keep doing stuff to him, and they wouldn't tell anybody, and they wouldn't take responsibility for creating that situation, because that's not what this is about. These people creating these situations, they want to create horrible situations, and I'm not 100% sure about the Chris Watts case. I'm really not sure about it. And don't look into it. Target individuals. It's too dark. We need to stay as light as we can. That's why let me finish this up, and that's going to be the end of talking about this.
I knew they could track it. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt. Well, someone had. In North Hollywood, he kidnapped, raped, and strangled another woman, telling the Daily News he thought he had actually killed her until she stirred. He says he considered killing himself, but by then authorities had moved in and placed him under arrest. Now, after twice...
Yeah, Stacy says they place me in deep hypnosis, strong brain entrainment, and they can alter your perceptions on things. The only way I got out of it was resisting strongly. Yes, Stacy. And that is so important. And I want to show y'all something, and it has to be immediately after I show this video, something very, very positive. This is about perception. This is about perception and what's the other one? Perception and, well, perception pretty much, but perspective, you know, and that's one thing that my attackers have also messed up with me. Like, they haven't messed up my logic or anything like that, but they've messed up how things feel, my feelings, my perception on things, right? That's a very, very, very important. So Jennifer Burns says there are no words to describe how horrible this is. Yes, Jennifer Burns, that is just, yeah, right on. Tanya Bauer says it is dangerous for all. Yes. Meerkat says that the TIs are the ones not under mind control. It's the gang stalkers that are under it. Yeah, and I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't say that's not true, you know. Yeah, Jeanette Dezette says, I do not listen to my attackers. Yeah, I don't listen to mine anymore. Even at the beginning, they told me to do stuff. Like, they tell me to go push a guy or something like that, and I just laughed. It was laughable, but it's like I kind of knew what was going on, because I knew, like, I was very self-conscious of my body because I had Crohn's disease. So I knew that when I started hearing voices that it was not insanity, you know, so I knew that it was some kind of electronic thing. It was some kind of new technology. I just knew because of the way that the voices were talking, but we've got to consider all the people who maybe don't know what's going on. They have no idea what's going on. And this is, you know, let me get his face off the screen.
Refusing to leave his jail cell last week to go to court, Drayton was finally arraigned on Monday, during which he pleaded not guilty.
By reason of insanity. Okay, I forgot what I was going to say. So that's the bad thing. I forgot what I was going to say. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Hey, Diana. Diana says, I wonder if he was close to a military base. Yeah, we should probably find that out. I don't know. I just think there's so many, like, these contractors all have these sites set up. Like, they have sites where the contractors who are working on us will, you know, do shift work, and all this equipment will be either, it could be underground. It's either underground in our cities. There's sites set up in every city, or they actually have, like, kind of buildings that look like corporate buildings where they go and they sit at these remote platforms. I probably think that it's like an underground site, and they have tons of them everywhere, you know, in every state. They have a lot of these where they would have these, because they have to make sure that these remote platforms are only for the eyes of the highest classification people, right? You have to have certain clearance and classification to actually use them. So they're going to hide them away where nobody could get to them. Even some people that work for those contractors in the diversified tech industries that they're working in would not even know that they were working with these weapons or doing this, you know. Tanya Bauer says, Kyle feels sad for all that are not awake to all this murder. Me too, Tanya. But people are waking up. People are waking up. You know, oh, that's what I was going to say. That's why, like, when people say, like, oh, you know, this is demons jumping from person to person, it makes me very worried, because if you got a targeted individual walking around with that mindset, they could begin to hate the people that are doing this to them, like the gang stalking. And then it could create much more negative situations, much more negative environments. And then maybe something kind of, I'm not saying that the TIs who think that this is just all demonic are going to necessarily do something crazy and evil. Definitely not saying that. But there's a lot more probability for something really bad to happen if you think that somebody's like demon possessed. Because a lot of these people, like I'll just give y'all an example. And he kind of gang stalks me a little bit. He thinks he's protecting his community. It's an older guy. He kind of reminds me of my grandpa on my dad's side that passed away when I was like 9. And he walked by me today and he's like, "Where you at, partner?" And I was just like, yeah, hey, sir, how you doing? You know, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's a good guy. He's an older guy. He doesn't know anything about this technology or what's happening in the world. And so I don't hate him. You know, we've got to learn how not to hate some of these people who don't know what they're doing. And I mean, you know, deal with this how you need to. I try and stay neutral on the microwavers because I was like, oh, well, God, I give it up to you, God, to forgive them and to deal with their destiny. And then I try and just stay neutral. I try and focus on you guys and myself and my family. And like I said one time, you know, these people microwaving me can live 1,000,000 years or go jump off a cliff right now. And that's not my priority. You know, my priority is getting them away from me, getting these weapons off of me, neutralizing them. But I feel like that's been a successful adaptation for me to not go crazy, is to release that hate and to say, I don't care about y'all. I don't care what happens to you. And sometimes it doesn't work right. We slip into, yeah, you're murdering me. You're hurting my family. I hate you people. You know, I want to see justice served. You know, but you try and just keep it as balanced as possible. You're the important thing. You're the important part. Your family, good people are the important thing that we have to focus on. You know, Healthy Living and Other Things says, I live 25 minutes from the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and there's a military installment in my small NorCal. Yes, that's probably, I would say that it's a huge probability that Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory has everything to do with your targeting healthy living. Yes. Diana Pythia says, Romola interviewed a retired officer recently who was talking about all the tech and surveillance and non-lethal weapon equipment he was given as chief of police by the FBI, and said they run Fusion. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, and Ramola's been just knocking it out of the park. She's been just doing tons of interviews and putting them up. Really, just doing awesome work. So go check out all of her interviews, because all of her interviews are good. But I saw her first interview with that chief of police, and I haven't watched that second one yet. So I need to go watch that. Yeah, thank you, Diana. Oh, yeah, everybody check out what Ramola's been doing lately, because she's knocking them out of the park. She's really just, you know, putting out so much good information, getting really smart. Yeah, she had an interview with Eduardo Colon. She had an interview with Thomas McFarlane. She had an interview with this chief of police. I mean, I can't even name them. I can't keep up. I can't keep up just to even know who all she's interviewing with, much less watch all the interviews, you know. Messenger of the Cross said the sheriff's office trains the watch groups. It's coffee and a cop. Yeah. Candy Kern says, Diana Pythia, is it the one called Techno Crime Fighters? I'm trying to find it, but she has a lot of it. It's one of her recent ones, Candy. It's one of her recent ones. It's like maybe in the last 3. I'm not sure what it's called. Let's look it up real quick. Let's just look it up real quick so everybody can go watch it. Let's go to this one. Mola D has been doing so. Everybody is. I mean, everybody's picking up steam and doing. And that's why I kind of like today. I was like, I don't want to show this because we have so much positive stuff going. But I just feel like telling the truth about all of this, the one-off situations, the dangerous stuff that's happening. We got to let people know how urgent it is. We got to let people know how urgent it is, you know. And that's, I mean, even when I'm feeling like, you know, super bad, like just real bad, I sometimes don't say, I try to kind of tone it down a little bit, but we need to let people know how urgent this all is. Okay, so it's this one. And I got to get Zoom. So it's report number 143, interview with Chief Damon Jones.
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to
updates and investigations. She did another interview with him, I think maybe like a week ago too. But so y'all go check this out. Oh man, I'm gonna like it. I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna give it a like. I like all of her videos. Okay, let me read this next one, guys, because I'm not feeling too good. I kind of gotta do it. I don't know. Oh, Ella's call is on tonight, guys. Thursday night, in an hour and a half, Ella goes on. Okay, so this is from CNBC. So both of these are mainstream news stories, and both of them had to do with targeted individuals. The first one was a very, very one-off situation where the worst possibility happened with this weapons entrainment and remote neural manipulation in V2K. The worst possibility came out of it. And then this one, and that was mainstream. So very one-off situation on that one. And now this is about the Cuban mystery attacks. Patrick Inca Rhodes gave me this in chat the other night when I went to Ryan's call. So I really want to thank Inca Rhodes, and I need to. He's just one of the best researchers I've ever worked with, and he would give me good articles. But then we got into a yelling fight. Like I yelled at him. I've never been so angry, and I kind of look back at that and I see how good of a team we kind of made, where he would research this awesome information. I could come on, get on my channel and put it out. And it was a very good, just a very good thing going there. And I think that our attackers really worked to do that weapons of mass disruption thing, where he got mad at me because he thought I was doing something to him. And then I got mad because he was like accusing me of something, and it just blew up. And then we haven't talked to each other much. We kind of do. We talk to each other in chat, but I gotta get really back in touch with him. Okay, so new research finds differences in the brains of U.S. embassy staff after Cuba mystery attacks. So they're still calling it Cuba mystery attacks, even though James G. Adorno and Dr. Michael Hoffer and these other guys with those presentations have come out and done these presentations with it's most likely that it's chemicals and electromagnetic pulses with mixed going through the vestibular system, the pathways to the brain. Even though all these experts have come out and said we've done this testing and it seems to be some kind of device that has electromagnetic pulses or microwave pulses, they're still saying mystery, right? So this story is it has to do with remote neuroweapons, but they just don't say it. They just talk about the effects on the people's brains, and they say, oh, this is a mystery. Okay, so it's by Elizabeth Myong from July 23rd. So still Cuban embassy attacks, still in the mainstream news. So that's good. So key points. New research shows differences in the brains of U.S. embassy personnel who endured mysterious attacks while serving in Havana, Cuba between 2016 and 2018. Compared with a healthy control group, advanced MRI testing reveals less white matter and fewer neural connections in the brains of embassy personnel and family members affected by the attacks, says a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. And this is also something I don't want to talk about. With my attacks and the remote neural manipulation, I have to talk about it. I just don't want targeted individuals that are maybe at a different stage to get psyched out and to think that this will happen to them and get worried and for it to, to cause trouble in their situation, right? But I need to say what's happening to me. So with my remote neural manipulation, the other day I said, it kind of feels like my consciousness is fading. It's faded. Like, like I used to, my visual cortex was always going, and I was very connected to my surroundings and connected. Like when I would go to sleep, I'd be thinking and dreaming the whole time, and just lots of neuronal connections, right? That's neuronal connections. That's your neurons communicating, right? They're communicating and they keep going, and it's a healthy communication. It's not your brain it's been microwaved and it's all messed up, and it keeps going in a very unhealthy way, right? So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense that these Cuban embassy workers, they have fewer neural connections, because these microwaves, the remote neural manipulation, all this experimentation and torture, it really does mess up the way our brain communicates, the way that our brain communicates. So I really, I guess I'll just talk about that. No big deal, but, I don't know. It's like humans want to not talk about like all their detailed medical stuff, and it's like we have to, I don't know. I guess it's no big deal. Okay, so while researchers detect significant differences in the neuroimaging between the two groups, They say they are unable to causally link the patient's symptoms to the attacks. Wait, what? While researchers detect significant differences in the neuroimaging between the two groups, they say they are unable to causally link the patient's symptoms to the attacks? Dude, that's all that James G. Adorno and Dr. Michael Hoffer and all those experts were doing. So what kind of researchers are they allowing to speak about this? That's what I want to know. So they got some researchers in quotation marks that are going to tell everybody that the changes to these people's brains had nothing to do with the attack. They can't causally link them. What a pile of cover-up. What a pile of cover-up. I'm very angry right now, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, personnel gathered at the U.S. Embassy on September 29, 2017 in Havana, Cuba. The U.S. State Department announced it will cut the embassy staff by half in the wake of mysterious health problems that have injured over 20 people associated with the U.S. Embassy and is currently being investigated by the FBI. 24 embassy workers that are stated in the testing done, but there's more than that. There's more embassy workers that did report it, but then were demoted and told to stay silent. And then there's more people in Cuba that were not embassy workers that were getting hit in hotels and stuff. So it's really like hundreds, like at least over 100 people in Cuba that have come forward. But they're keeping it at that. Oh, it's 24 people. It's an isolated incident. Gotta cover this up in any way that we can. I don't even know how it got into the Miami Herald. You know, miracle. That was a real miracle. So Messenger of the Cross says everybody has customized targeting, for example, sensitizing, but yet the actual abuse content is customized. Yeah, I think this is really tailor-made to what's going to hurt you, what's important to you about yourself. Yeah, how you think and everything like that. Tanya Bauer says, Kyle, they are better knowing that not you are helping a lot off people. Yeah. Future Knowledge says, I just tried to get my research out in the most honest way possible. I've had a long time to study this. Yeah, Future Knowledge, you do a great job, man. Everybody check out Future Knowledge's channel. All right, let me go ahead and read this real quick, guys. Okay, so new research says there are significant differences in the brains of the U.S. Embassy staff members who endured mysterious attacks while serving in Havana, Cuba between 2016 and 2018. Compared with a healthy control group, advanced MRI testing revealed less white matter and fewer neural connections in the brains of the U.S. Embassy staff members affected by the attacks, according to a study published Tuesday in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Study evaluated 40 participants, 23 men and 17 women, from August 2017 to June 2018 at the University of Pennsylvania Center for Brain Injury and Repair. Now, this is another, I've tried to contact them. I can't find the number for the department. If somebody could help me with that, I'll call them. If you can find the number to get me to the University of Pennsylvania Center for Brain Injury and Repair, I will start calling. But I think we all need, that's another place besides Dr. Michael Hoffer where we might be able to get help. The affected group's MRI imaging was then compared with that of 48 other healthy individuals who were similar in age, gender, race, and ethnicity, education level, and lifestyle. We found neurological dysfunction that could not be explained by head impact, said Dr. Douglas H. Smith, director of the Center for Brain Injury and Repair and professor of neurosurgery at the Perelman School of Medicine. Researchers used advanced neuroimaging to monitor how water molecules moved in the white matter of the brain. Smith explained that white matter is critical for processing signals in the brain and normal functioning. When it came to the patients affected in the mysterious attacks, Smith said the water molecules were moving in a different manner and direction than in the case of a concussion or other neurological issues. Smith, okay, so when it came to the patients affected in the mysterious attacks, Smith said the water molecules were moving in a different manner and direction than in the case of a concussion or other neurological issues. Okay, that's interesting. They were types of changes we've never seen before, Smith said. Yeah, I guess there hasn't been a lot of, microwaving, remote neural manipulation, microwaves affecting the brain like this, that have been seriously looked at by doctors, right? Because like in the 1970s, if somebody was being, their brain was being microwaved, they go to the doctor would immediately say, oh, you have schizophrenia or something like that, and probably, would do maybe a standard MRI, and you don't see anything in a standard MRI. But now they have, DTIs and everything like that, which they can see more details of the brain. And they probably, or just start, this has been going on for a long time, but doctors have never really looked into it, well, regular doctors that take care of regular patients out in the public have never seen this kind of stuff. However, the doctors working for these programs and these contractors and these hospitals involved probably know exactly what it looks like and exactly what it's doing. Or maybe some of this, this testing being done to the Cuban embassy workers, maybe they want to get more data. Maybe the contractors, created this situation. Maybe it was America. They created this situation because they knew that these people would get some medical help and some research on exactly what it's doing, and they needed that for their research. Maybe there was an angle like that in there. I don't know. He also said the results showed the patient's balance, eye tracking, hearing, cognition, and memory were affected. While researchers detected notable differences in the neuroimaging between the two groups, they said they were unable to directly link the patient's symptoms to the attack. I don't understand that. I don't understand that sentence. While researchers detected notable differences in the neuroimaging between the two groups, they said they were unable to directly link the patient's symptoms to the attack. That's why they had the symptoms. The attack was why they had the symptoms. I don't see how they can't causally relate the symptoms to the attack. I think that's purposeful obfuscation. Is that how you say obfuscation? Obfuscation. Some U.S. embassy personnel serving in Cuba between 2016 and 2018 reported hearing a jarring sound like buzzing, grinding metal, piercing squeals, and humming in their Havana homes and hotel rooms. Those affected recalled the sound as directional, intensely loud, and with pure and sustained tonality. Yeah, and that's how I would describe the high-pitched ringing in my ears. And the V2K. The V2K seems directional. The high-pitched sound comes in both ears. So I guess that wouldn't really be directional, but intensely loud, yes, and a pure sustained tonality, unless I do things like Dave Case's CD and other things, which will actually affect the high-pitched sound, the high-pitched ringing in my ears. Now my friend Ken is texting me. I got to call him after this. I'm going to try and get him on my channel. He knows a lot about common law, and he thinks he has a stemoceiver. Like when he was a kid, he thinks a stemoceiver. Well, he has like a lot of X-rays and good evidence, imaging done to show it. So okay, did I read this? Okay. The sounds range from quick 10-second pulses to 30 minutes long. So it wasn't just continual. It looks like it wasn't continual. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. It probably was continual for these people. I don't believe this right here. The U.S. has said 26 U.S. embassy workers and family members have been medically confirmed to have been affected. Right. So there's many more that have reported it. There's many people who are not embassy workers who have reported it in Cuba, but they haven't been medically confirmed. And a lot of the people who have reported it, who were government workers, were demoted and told not to talk about it because they didn't want it to seem like it was bigger, which it is bigger. This is a worldwide thing. Targeted individuals are being hit with this stuff. More Cuban embassy workers were hit with this stuff than the ones medically recorded. More Americans in Cuban hotels and Cubans in Cuban hotels were hit with this stuff, but they weren't medically confirmed, right? After the Associated Press released a recording of the sound in October 2017, Several scholars speculated the sound wasn't a weapon at all. Quickly, the list of explanations grew to include crickets. Sorry, I almost threw up just in my mouth right there. Crickets, microwaves, and infections, though none of these claims were verified. And all the professional experts on neurology, on neuroweapons, that professionals in neurotechnology that advise the Pentagon have said probably this is a combination of toxins and microwave pulses, or just microwave pulses, or electromagnetic pulses. So, and you have them in radio frequencies are a type of electromagnetic pulse. And you had one of the experts in the Donovan speaker series talking about radio waves, and you know how that was a very likely culprit. Patients said symptoms included memory problems, brain fog, difficulty concentrating, irritability, nervousness, and sadness. Boy, it's like I'm reading the problems that I deal with. Like I'm just reading exactly the freaking problems that I deal with. Memory problems, brain fog, difficulty concentrating, irritability. Here's my irritability. Here's my irritability. Irritability, nervousness, and sadness. These symptoms reportedly lasted for days and even months after the exposure. Some are still experiencing symptoms, Smith said. And we know why they're still experiencing symptoms, because they're still being hit with the weapons wherever they go. Wow. How crappy is that? That they're like, oh, they're still experiencing symptoms for being hit with something a long time ago. And they're just, and you know, it's really weird, guys. When I first knew that I was getting hit with a high-pitched sound, so I knew I was being attacked, I'd get out of my apartment and I'd still have ringing in my ears, but I thought it was just from being exposed to the high-pitched sound. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I thought it was just because I had been exposed to the high-pitched sound, I got away from it, but the ringing sound continued because I was still being hit with the weapons. But I thought, oh, this is just because it's hurt my ears. Like many years through, like I think like even 2 years after I started being overtly targeted, where I knew I was being hit with weapons, I went to the house that burned down, and I thought I had gotten away from my attackers, but I still had the ringing in my ears, and I was like, oh, my ears just have to heal, right? But I was actually still being hit. This study is really important for the patients, he said. They felt like they were under attack and under attack again in the media. I don't know. I mean, I don't see how the media attacked them. Maybe some media were just calling them crazy. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, they felt like they were under attack in the media, just like we feel like we're under attack when people are trying to say it's everything else besides what it is. Besides what it is, a weapons attack. These neuro weapons are being used on a lot of people, and all these intelligence agencies around the world have access to them, and contractors have access to them, and they try and say it's mass hysteria. No, it's crickets. It's crickets. It's, you know, whatever they say. Oh, it's like it's just, you know, everybody's starting to hear high-pitched sounds, and that's just the craze, right? And then they hear that other people are talking about high-pitched sounds, and they just, you know, they want to be in that, you know, whatever they think of, that's a lie. Okay, Smith said patients were told the attacks were only psychological while they continued to deal with neurological symptoms and felt confident that the attacks were real. Let's read that again. Smith said patients were told the attacks were only psychological. Who else is told this? Who else is told this, guys? Who else is told this? We are told this, right? When we are having physical issues, our brains getting messed up with microwaves, and then the psychiatrist said, oh, this is just a psychological issue, the ringing in the ears, some kind of new psychological condition. And you're just imagining all this, even though the weapons exist and everything like that, and there's programs experimenting on people. It's just psychological. So the patients were told the attacks were only psychological while they continued to deal with neurological symptoms and felt confident that the attacks were real. He said the study shows there are real neurological differences in brain imaging to support these findings. He said future research should be done, including long-term follow-ups with the patients and comparisons with Canadians who were also affected in the attacks. That's like my friend Ken is a Canadian. He lives in Canada, and a lot of Canadians are also being hit with this stuff. But in the in the case of the Cuban embassy attacks, in the Canadian embassy in Cuba, a lot of Canadians were hit too. Or was it Canadians that worked in the American embassy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but a lot of Canadians, they're actually suing their government. The Canadians who were hit in Cuba are actually suing their government for trying to kind of cover it up and not giving them the help they needed, right? So, I mean, that's probably the kind of trajectory that we're on as targeted individuals. We're going to have to end up suing our government for trying to cover this up, even if they didn't directly point the weapons at us. They're funneling money into the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense is getting contractors, universities, hospitals, and subcontractors to do this stuff. So we're probably going to end up having to bring suit against our own government. Hopefully we can just sue the ever-living F out of the contractors that are hitting us and just bankrupt them. High aspirations, but gosh, I hope that we're moving forward. Okay, in September 2017, the U.S. State Department removed family and non-emergency personnel from the embassy in Havana. The next month, the department protested Cuba's failure to address the attacks by demanding the removal of 15 Cuban officials from its embassy in Washington, D.C. Cuba denied any involvement in the attacks, and wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? But maybe Cuban intelligence didn't do it. I kind of think Cuban intelligence, Cuba has been working with Russia with these weapons, and Russia gives Cuba these weapons and training with these neuro weapons and things to do some stuff that Russia wants them to do. That's kind of what I think, but it's only a theory. It is only a theory. All right, guys. I think that's about it for tonight. Let's read some of y'all's chats. Cole Pinter TI. John, it's not just criminals working under the government. They are criminals recruited by the government. Yeah, that's probably true. Future Knowledge says criminal organizations have gotten a hold of the technology given to them intentionally by the government. Like, so what I just think that it's contractors and subcontractors with specific clearances under the DoD. So I don't think the government is just the DoD is just handing out these weapons to like criminal gangs and stuff like that, because the criminal gangs wouldn't have the certain kind of clearance for like these satellites, for all the different delivery mechanisms of the microwaves. But maybe there's some one-off situations where some criminals get their hands on ground weapons, like in the case of Dr. Matthew Aaron. Maybe that happens like that. I just think that this is what I really think. I think if you're being hit 24 hours a day wherever you go, and it's like signals from a microwave tower routed through satellite and then other remote delivery mechanisms, but it never stops, and you can go to another state and it's still hitting you remotely, then I think you got to say this is not just some random gangsters or criminals. This is like a contractor with clearances that has to have clearances to for these remote platforms to actually utilize satellites, utilize drones, utilize ground radar, utilize wind towers, utilize microwave towers, utilize all those different methods. But there's probably some of that in there with ground weapons. There probably are some very very evil, just criminal groups who maybe aren't connected to the DoD doing this. Healthy Living says Canadians have it bad for MK Ultra. Have in bad for MK Ultra. Tony Bauer says Australian couple got killed, one from USA. Cole Pinter TI. I only got to talk to one real TI because of communications tampered. Then they thought I was a perp. Well, you're talking to a lot of TIs right now, Cole. Because I know a lot of these target individuals that come to my chats are real, and I'm real. I'm very real. I'm a very real TI. Too real for me. Too real of a TI. Let's see. Jeanette says, I get a buzzing continuously with occasional high-pitched frequency, mostly in the left ear. Yeah. I get mine. Mine's kind of in both ears. I guess it is more in the left because most of the pain in my body's on the left side. And I think that's because my vagus nerve is over there. So I think that when they put in non-consensual, like my initial non-consensual implant, they made sure they put it on the left side because they know that they're going to be working off of the vagus nerve. Diana Pythia says, likely backed by a federal org. Yeah. Yes. Jennifer Burns says, these weapons are way too advanced to be in someone's house. That's what I think. But I do think, you know, I lived in the house that burned down. There was an ex-Army guy and his wife who lived next door. And I rounded the corner one time and I saw this huge black square and he had a ground weapon. Like he did have a ground weapon. And I think that he would supplement the attacks with that ground weapon. But I was supposed to see that ground weapon when I walked around the corner so that I would think he was doing it all, right? It was a psyop. And I don't even know if he knew what he was really trying to accomplish with that psyop. But my attackers who were remotely hitting me with the stuff, they wanted me to see that he had that ground weapon. So I'd say everything that's happening, because they made it, even though they were hitting me remotely when I was in the house, they would make it all seem like it was coming from the direction of his house or the direction of the houses, you know, around me. And so they made me think it like all these people had ground weapons and were kind of switching around and stuff like that. I don't even want to go back to that situation in my mind. Healthy Living says, death penalty is a great way to depopulate America. 500 million via Georgia Guidestones. I do think in the master plan, depopulation, what do they call it? Sustainable growth or something like that. What Henry Kissinger called it sustainable growth. And yeah, I mean, that is happening. It's happening and it's kind of picking up steam. So we got to let people know about it. Diana says, it seems like increased EMFs, HF, and electromagnetic frequencies, high frequencies, and low frequencies increases the tinnitus-like sound. Yeah. Tanya Bauer says they put it all around you. Yeah. Stacy says, Kyle, did you get your hearing aid yet? I didn't check my mail today. I need to go check on it because I should have gotten it by now. I think I ordered it Saturday or Sunday, and it said, like, I put it on a special 2-day delivery, so I should have gotten it by now already. But let me go check. I'm going to go check in my mail after this video. Jennifer, yeah, and I'll let you know what I'll do, Stacy. Because I wanted to do a video on that. I want to do a video because I was going to do an unboxing. Like I was going to do like a YouTube unboxing, but it was going to be like noise canceling hearing aid unboxing for targeted individuals. And I definitely, if I get them tonight, I guess I'll just do a video after this. I'll do I may do a video, not a live stream, kind of just do a short one, letting y'all know. I'll go see, but I'll let you know as soon as possible, Stacy, if it works. Because I know you're dealing with B2K too. Diana says, I think bands are used as well. The interview with the officer was talking about the FBI using local cable vans and equipment to go around asking neighbors questions and gathering intel. Future Knowledge says, Cole, go to the rallies. Don't do nothing bad. You could meet a lot of friends there. Yes. There's a lot of ways we can fight. We don't need to do anything bad. But, you know, like, this is what I'm thinking. Let me read what Cole said. Cole Pinter TI said, the TI calls I get perp too much. I won't go. Plus, Ella Free is a fraud. Oop. Well, you know, Cole, I just want to say this, Cole. There are a lot of real targeted individuals on those calls. Like, and I do want to say, I think Ella is a real targeted individual. I think she's doing a lot for the community, but I think that, you know, we get paranoid and stuff. And I think that there are some infiltrators on calls. I think there are infiltrators everywhere. But just remember that there are a lot of real targeted individuals. There are a lot of real targeted individuals doing a lot of big stuff, you know. I'll tell y'all, like, and there's a lot of organizations that I think are real targeted individuals really trying to help. But I just want to say, because I'm a part of Targeted Justice, I talked with Midge a long time ago. Me and Midge think we have the same contractor. I know she's a real targeted individual. I know that Dr. Lighthouse is too. My instincts on them and talking with them and knowing, you know, what they're doing, I have a lot of trust. My instinct is really a lot of trust with those guys in Targeted Justice. So I do want to say that. Now, that's not discounting Targeted America, and then there's Alliance, there's a whole bunch of organizations. But I just want to say, you know, I know that there are some infiltrators, but there's some real targeted individuals. Yeah, I do want to say I do think Ella is a real targeted individual, but I think a lot of people maybe are not a lot of people. I think that any targeted individual stepping up and leading an organization, or even just making videos, there's going to be some questions about them, right? Like, even me, I'm sure that there are a lot of TIs that are like, man, this guy has made videos for like 6 years. You know, they'd be like, with my targeting, I can't do that. My targeting's so bad. You know, how does he do that, right? And I kind of asked that question about targeted individuals that are doing so much and they just work all the time. Like, how are they doing? Are they a real targeted individual? But in my case, it's like, it's so important that even if I look like a fool, you know, doing some of this stuff, it's just too important. There are just too many women and children being tortured. My family, my mom, my dad are being affected. I'm being affected, and I just have to do it. I have to do it no matter how I feel. So kind of keep that in mind when you see TIs doing some big stuff. You know, they may be kind of downplaying what they're going through. And that's what I kind of wanted to say. You know, we shouldn't ever do anything violent, obviously, because this guy who said that he had V2K and felt like he wasn't in control of his own body, he's going to cause trouble for our community, right? This is going to cause trouble for us, that people are going to think we're violent people or something like that. So it's bad for us. What Myron May did, even though it did get a little bit of awareness out, if he would have stuck it out and became a lawyer in some of these organizations, he could have helped a lot more. And I think what we've got to do is not say, oh, we've got to fight. We've got to go out and do something violent. Obviously, we need to not do that. But like the other night when I was in the Walmart and just going up to random people and asking them if they knew about targeted individuals, right? It's kind of embarrassing. I was kind of embarrassed, and I just wasn't feeling good too. But that's the kind of stuff we need to do. We need to put ourselves out there and say, F it, F how I look. I'm dying anyway. I'm being tortured anyway. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. And you don't have, everything doesn't have to be perfect. And you know, you don't even have, sometimes you're going to do something that's not going to work maybe. But just the doing it and learning from it is what we've got to do. We've really got to try and, we've really got to try and break through a lot of our feelings about, because the society and the system has totally failed. Like, it's there and we got to use it, right? Like, I'm in this condo, I've got to eat and pay bills and stuff like that, but the system's gone. Like, it's murdering people, it's failed. So we definitely have to use the system as much as we can, use it, but it's failed, and we've got to find other ways to break through. What I usually do is I'm in a holding pattern with the targeting, but then when I do feel some energy, I try and break through and kind of say, okay, well, I'm tired of just going through articles on this stuff. I'm tired of just talking about my targeting. I'd like to go out in public and do this, but I'm really nervous and I feel horrible, but I gotta push and do it. And then it's kind of fun. It was kind of like an adrenaline rush. It's something different. So if we push, God will give us the strength and we'll find things. And then there's so many organizations doing great things. There may be some infiltrators in some of the organizations, but there are ones where there are just real TIs. So you got to just look at them all and see which ones give you that good instinct, that where you feel like these people are being honest, they're doing something good, and they're really targeted, and try and help those organizations, right? Yeah, Tanya Bauer says Dr. Matthew and Ella Free are helping all TIs. I think so too. Healthy Living and Other Things said, I watched that. What? What'd you watch? Healthy Living? Eyes Open the Stage, plus you love the sound of your voice. Are you talking to me, Eyes Open the Stage? I'll tell you all the truth. I've gotten a lot of comments like that, and I just kind of try and ignore them. Like there was one comment by somebody, maybe Eyes Open the Stage wasn't talking to me, but I got this comment. Somebody in the comments in the chat was like, "Oh, you like superheroes? This must be really fun for you, right? You think you're saving the world, and this is a grand adventure." And they couldn't have been a targeted individual because this isn't fun. This isn't fun, and just because I like superheroes doesn't think that I think you can save the world. It's a stupid. You've got to help your family. My dad taught me you help your family, you help yourself, you help the people around you, and that's pretty much the best you can do. So this trying to change a whole corrupt global system, it's really hard. It's like a process of doing it, and organizations are going to have to be built, and rallies are going to have to take place, and people in the government are going to have to get on our side. It's a horrible process. This isn't fun. And actually, I don't know, were you talking to me like, hey, Eyes Open this stage, were you just talking to me when you said plus you love the sound of your voice? Because today I went out and I did errands and I got gang stalked and I met some, I talked to some nice people or whatever, but I'm getting V2K and at my body, I don't even feel like I can really explain things well. And I paced around and I said, should I do a video? Because I don't feel very good. I don't get on these videos and say, oh, I love hearing my own voice and I'm narcissistic and all that stuff. I have to try and make it fun. I have to try and make it fun because we have to talk about this stuff. So if you're just sitting there and you're like, oh, he just loves the attention and all this stuff, go blow it out your own ass, dude. You go blow it out your ass, because this is hard stuff and it's not fun, but we've got to try and make it fun. We got to try and talk to each other. And it's not like I'm just some guy who's like, oh, I love attention and blah, blah, blah. That's not me at all. When you have to do something, you have to do something because people are dying. So Future Knowledge says it is the government and the Luciferian commanders within the government and special access programs. Yeah, thank you, Jennifer Burns. Jennifer Burns says, thanks, Kyle, for doing these videos. It really helps. Yeah, let's go ahead and end in prayer, guys. I'm not doing good. I'm really agitated. I hate that. I hate that so much when people are like, oh, you're enjoying yourself and getting attention or some kind of crap. They can't be real TIs. Like that dude can't be a real TI if he thinks that it's like, oh, I'm going to get attention. And I just like making a YouTube channel. I like building up a YouTube channel. And dude, what I'm talking about is not fun. It's hard to make jokes during any of this because it's a dude who's like was targeted by this stuff and committed serial murders. Like it's not fun. Yeah, I gotta end this video, guys. I gotta end this live stream. I love you guys. Let's do a prayer at the end. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ. Dear Lord, please just give every targeted individual strength today. Please give us miracles every day. Thank you for all the good people in the world that do help us. Just thank you that we have these platforms to get any information out. Thank you for all the positive stuff coming up. And just give all targeted individuals strength to do what they can. Put into their heart tonight. Put into their heart what they can do to make their lives better and other targeted individuals' lives better. Just hold us in your hands and give us that strength that surpasses science, that surpasses understanding. Connect us with that strength that we can keep going and we can keep helping people and relieve our own suffering and their suffering, the suffering of our family and people that are good in the society. Help us to end these sick programs and help good people just take the wax off of their eyes so they can see that this stuff is going on. And just thank you for all the good things in our life, God. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ. All right, guys, I'm going to stop there. I'm sorry if that's not what you were saying, stage guy or whatever your name is, then I'm sorry about that. But it really makes me mad because I know people think like that, because there are some YouTubers who are like, you know, they come on talking about how they're a clone and their grandma's a reptilian and stuff, and they're really trying to make money and just get attention or whatever. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. And I know most everybody knows that. And for people who are all like, hey man, you're just trying to get attention, blah, blah, and I have the important information, you make a YouTube channel with your important information. And I'll be so happy that you are putting out information that is so important, you know? All right, guys. Native Ropter says, beautiful prayer, Kyle. Thanks, Native. Oh, yeah, and let's pray for Native Neuropters. Pray for all TIs who are hurting. And Diana Pythia says, thanks for your light and leadership, Kyle. Thanks, Diana. Thank you for your help, too. All right, Cole. Cole, if you want to email me at vulcanwolverine@gmail.com. And I'll try and help you out. You too, Stacy, like you know, your videos have really helped me, and it seems like you're going through a lot of the same stuff. So if you want to email me, I'll send you my number, and so I can at least let you know about the stuff that, you know, defensive stuff. Yeah, Stacy says, ignore him, Kyle. I see the good you're doing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm in a bad state. I'm in a very agitated state. So just that little comment, I blew up, you know. I don't like it. I don't like it a lot. All right, guys. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm going to kind of get myself just better emotionally, more balanced. Maybe get those, you know, the hearing aids, and maybe I can feel better with that. But we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. And guys, you know, make videos. You don't have to make a video every day. You don't like have to keep making videos. You just make a couple of videos and put out your testimony and some advice and stuff like that. I mean, like Stacy didn't make, and a lot of targeted individuals don't make a ton of videos all the time, but they put out, you know, advice in their testimony, and it's priceless. It's priceless. It's so needed. Also, I wanted to say, like, just towards the end, Stacy got an Orgonite pendant, and I'm thinking about getting one of those because Orgonite has electrical qualities that can actually, like, this directed energy has to cut through the kind of, I don't know what you call it, a field. The piezoelectric quality of the Orgonite creates kind of a field. And so there's a lot of scientific evidence that Orgonite works real well. Stacy had a lot of other really good advice too on her videos. Yeah, email me, Stacy. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go see if I got that. Hopefully, I'll either get it today or tomorrow. All right, I love you guys. I'm gonna kind of Diana said much love to all. Me too. Much love to all you guys. And I'm gonna say a bunch of prayers for y'all. Just pray every night for strength and for the connection to God that science has not found yet. It seems to be quantum, and then past that, there's things where God's connected to us, and he'll give you a little wink sometime. Was that my right eye? I want to do that where it's not Illuminati, but God will give you a little bit of wink sometimes. I'm trying to think. I may make a short video because I can't remember it now, but there was something. Yeah. Before I go, guys, let me share my screen one more time. And this really, it was a breakthrough for me. And it's something that somebody in chat was talking about, our perception earlier. I think it was Stacy. And I want to show you all this. Go to positive affirmations. Stop that. Let's see that. Everybody listen to this. I'm not going to play it on my this live stream because I just play the whole thing through this video. I'll put it in the description. Okay, so this is a rising higher meditation, and it's called Your Perception is Your Power. Let go trying to control other people. Inspirational speech. This it's very, very smart, and it's very, very smart spiritually. So if you guys can just see it on the screen, you know, write it down. I'll also put it in the description after this. But this is it's just very inspirational. It really gave me just a real boost. It was almost like because I've been thinking about how important perception is and how my attackers really mess with that a lot. And it was almost like at the end of this kind of figuring this thing out for the last couple of years, God kind of gave me a little bit of a wink at the end of it and saying, yeah, man, that's what it's all about. It's all about your perception. You know, it's all about what you can do with this situation. We do our best with this situation that we can. All right, guys, I love y'all. And I will see y'all in the next. I'll definitely probably do something this weekend. Yeah, probably live stream this weekend. I want to get things set up with my mom so I can, because we share minutes. So I've got to make sure that we have extra minutes so I can maybe do some live streams out and about. All right, I love you guys. God bless y'all. God protect y'all. And don't quit. Don't quit. There's stuff. Just ask God for help if you are in a situation where it's just like I can't keep going, and He will put something in your path. All right, guys. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next.